This is going to be the final product, a poster featuring everybody who's endorsing de Blasio. Today we're going to be creating mini collages, and I'm going to show you precisely just how to do that. This is Bill de Blasio, likely the next mayor of New York City. Today we're going to create a collage featuring people who've endorsed his candidacy for mayor of New York. As you can see on the Bill de Blasio website, there's a lot of people who are in his favor. And what I did is I went through approximately 103 individuals, divided it up so each of you guys are responsible for 5 or 6. And then I'm going to show you how to find those images, extract them using the magnetic lasso, create a mini collage which we will then stitch together using everybody else's collages. So if I am Ebony, for example, and I can see that the first person she's responsible for is Congresswoman Grace Meng. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here, I'm going to copy her title and her name, and I'm going to press Control V in the address bar. Now, what I know is that a number of websites will come up. I'm going to click on images. And when I do, I can see there's quite a few of her. What I'll do is I'll simply select the top one. This looks like the sort of formal government image, and I'm going to right click and go to copy paste. I'm going to do file new, and I'm going to press OK. So I'm going to zoom in, and I can see this is a nice, pretty high res image. I'm going to use the magnetic lasso. When you are selecting an image, you're going to want to make sure that you do a great job with the selections. I'm going to show you a little bit precisely what I mean by that. So this looks not bad. What I can see, however, oops, I'm going to press Control Alt Z. What I can see though is right here there's some of the red in the backdrop. There's a couple ways we can take it out. I think the easiest way for the sake of this exercise is simply clicking on the subtract from selection. And now what I can do, and as a matter of fact, I'm going to select the polygonal lasso. Again, select subtract from selection, and I'm going to go like this, and that looks great to me. I'm going to press now Control C, and I'm going to go to this blank that I sent you. I'm going to press Control V, and that's pretty big. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to use the polygonal lasso. I'm going to select the first one, new selection, and let's sort of just clean this up a little bit. Okay. Delete. And it doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to go back later on and address that. So you guys are going to fit approximately 5 or 6 people into this layer, into this composition. So I'm going to drop her down to 77. Let's try 66%. That looks great right there. I'm going to press check. Now this is really critical. I'm going to return to this this particular spreadsheet, and what I'm going to do now is press Control C, highlight, Control C. I'm going to return to Photoshop. Where I see layer 1, I'm going to double click, and now I can rename this layer, and I'm going to press Control V, and I'm going to press enter to paste, and now I can see that it's labeled appropriately. Now what I'm going to do is make sure that the white is selected in the foreground. I'm going to switch to the text tool, and I'm going to click, and I'm going to press Control V. That's a little too big. I'll change it to size. Let's try size 14, and let's do Times New Roman. Okay, great. Now what I'm going to do is press enter, so it looks a little bit like this, and now I'm going to press check. And so now what I can see is when I go to the layers palette, and then I can stretch it out like so, I can see now that these two are matched up. I'm going to do this one more time really quickly so you can see precisely why we're doing this and how it's going to help you out later on in life. Let's do Assembly Member Vivian Cook. Alright, this is high-rose person. Click here, Control V, click on Images, and I can see we've got a number of images. This one. Alright. I'm going to save image as. You know what? I'm actually going to simply right click, copy. I'm going to go to Photoshop, File New. I'm going to now use the magic wand tool, select the white, Control Shift I to invert the selection, Control C. Let's bring this back here. Control V. Now she's much smaller. I totally get that. And so the resolution is probably going to be compromised a little bit. That's fine. That's okay. There's going to be like 103 people. I don't think it's going to be that big a deal. So now what I'm going to do is drag her down beneath this other congresswoman. I'm going to now return to the spreadsheet. And I can see Assembly Member Vivian Cook. I'm going to press Control C. I'm going to go to Photoshop. I'm going to use the text tool. Great. I'm going to go like so. And 2 down, 4 more to go. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to send it to me. You're going to layer it so that this particular collage is layered appropriately. So another person might be like right here, right here, right here, and right there. And again, you're going to want to have all the names pretty visible. If it goes over their face a little bit, that's okay, because we're going to be fixing this up later on. Let's put this about right there. Okay, and if there's a little bit white right there, don't worry about that. We're going to fix that up later on. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, let me know. Good luck. Alright, so I'm almost done with my portion of the collage, and I know that all I need left is this David Weprin guy. So I search his name. As you can see, Assembly Member David Weprin, and there's lots of images in here. I'm just going to grab this one. Again, I'm not going to be downloading and saving this to the hard drive. I'm just going to right click and do save. Actually, right click, copy image. You're going to go to Photoshop, File New. You're going to press OK, Control V. So the thing about this image, you guys might encounter it as well, is that it's like a dark jacket versus, or sort of against a dark backdrop, likewise with this here. So instead of using the magnetic lasso or the quick selection tool, I'm going to take out the polygonal lasso. The reason I want to use this is because we can just make sort of a straight line. Alright, and what I'm doing is I'm sort of just getting the bottom of his jacket. Great. And what I know clearly, I don't have the top of his head, so I'm going to do that right now. Right click. Now instead of the rectangular, I'm going to use the elliptical marquee. And there's lots of different ways we can make a selection. Let's do like kind of like that. It's not perfect, but whatever. So now we've got the 2 toughest areas. Oh, you know what, ladies and gentlemen, I made a mistake. So when you're using a new selection tool, make sure you select Add to Selection. That could have been frustrating had I went further and not realized it. So now when we add to selection, we keep the selection that we had just a second ago, and now we've got both. Now we need to sort of just fill in the pieces. I'm going to right click. I'm going to do the magnetic lasso. This is the 3rd selection tool we're using for this cutout. Add to selection is checked, and so now I'm just going to sort of click, go along the edge. I'm on the inside, and there's contrast here, so that's a little bit easier to use. Great, and then almost done. Great, so I'm just going to click right here, clicking down a little bit, whatever, straight. I'm going to now press Control C to copy. I'm going to return to here, Control V, and so here's where it can get a little bit tricky, like how do you squeeze all these people in here? I'm going to press Control T. Let's make this 44%. And we'll probably squeeze him in the back right there. Put him right here. Put that right there. We'll probably have this guy right here. You know, we'll keep him right here. I'm going to get this Weprin guy. I'm going to drag him beneath so you can see it's a little bit of an art. I like that right there. And you can see the text can overlap other people as well. That's no big deal. And we'll have this right here. And now I'm going to, instead of going back to the spreadsheet where we found the name, I'm just going to simply press back, Control C, Photoshop, Type Tool. We're on a new layer. Control V. We might not see all of it, so I'm going to drag this up. We want the text on the top. And we'll have it like so. So if you submitted this to me, it would be an A. This is not the final product. We're definitely going to go back and make some changes. You'll see what I mean in the next class. But if you submitted this to me today as a PSD, not as a JPEG, actually as a JPEG as well, but the PSD is crucial because you guys are going to be sharing this with one another using Dropbox, and you need all the separate layers. Alright guys, earlier in this tutorial I told you guys to use Times New Roman. I changed my mind. I think Arial would be a more appropriate font. So what I'm going to do is, rather than clicking on the type tool, then pressing Control A and finding Arial and going through like so, I'm going to show you an easy way to do that. So what we need to do first is select all the layers. To do that, I'm going to click on the top text layer, and then I could either hold Control and click all the text layers. An easier way to do that, if they're all next to one another, is click the top one, hold Shift, and click the bottom one. Now they're all selected. Now what I'm going to do is press T if you're not selecting it already. I'm going to go to Times New Roman. I'm going to type in ARI and press enter, and that's Arial. We're at 14 font, which is perfect. We're white, which is tremendous, and that's the font what we're going to want to use. Arial 14 white. But I think that I also want to add a layer style. I think that black 3-pixel stroke would be pretty cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the top one where it says Congresswoman Grace Meng. I'm going to go to layer style. I'm going to drop all the way down to stroke, and I'll change this from red to black, and the default is 3. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to press OK. So now, instead of doing that to all the other ones, one option is, if I held Control, I could click stroke and then just drag it to each one. So that's one way of doing it. But if we've got lots of layers, and in this one we have 6, instead I'm going to simply right click where it says Congresswoman. I'm going to go down to where it says copy layer style. Now what I'm going to do is click the next one, and then all the remaining, holding Shift and selecting the bottom, they're all selected. I'm going to right click and do paste layer style, and there we go. I'm going to press now the first one, and if I zoom in a little bit, you can see that all of them have the appropriate text formatting. Alright ladies and gentlemen, I hope this was helpful. Good luck.